You know what that music means.
I don't hear it.
You don't hear it?
I don't hear it.
What? Let's turn you up.
Oh, that's
you hear
good.
it now?
The podcast.
Okay. Jim
Mark
just turned it
Bartram
down. That
and
means we're
Jeremy
live, ladies and
Jackson.
gentlemen.
Sponsored
Here
by
on
CBT.
the Pants Off podcast. Let's get it.
You really do? We're doing it? Anita didn't kibosh it?
Well, she didn't kibosh it, man. We just got to keep it real in the streets.
Alrighty.
If you do this podcast, you got to go pants off. Pants off podcast. Jim, get the applause ready because I got to do something before we get this started right now.
Did you wear special undies for today? Did you remember?
I got my regular, what I would wear any day.
There you go.
But get the
Keeping it
applause
organic.
ready because my man JJ, Jeremy Jackson, won the Pan Ams in Jiu-Jitsu.
Woo!
Where's that?
All right.
Turn that applause up, man. So if you don't know, my co-host here, my good buddy, my friend, Jeremy Jackson, star of the internationally acclaimed, universally known television show Baywatch as Hobie. He is here with me, and he is known all over the world, but he's the guy behind this concept of the Pants Off podcast. Why are we sitting here in our boxers right now?
You know, I've done a lot of interviews in my pants.
Exactly.
And I'm sure anybody we would have on the show, I'm sure you've done a lot of interviews all with your pants.
Yes.
So, I mean, how many interviews have you done without your pants? How many shows have you done without your pants?
Not a one.
This is it. This is our time, man. This is our time to shine.
It's funny because our guest today, who happened to cancel on us, we'll get him back on, Tommy Sablon. He's a Hall of Fame radio broadcaster.
Oh, wow.
He, forever in the business, and he's in the Radio Broadcasting Hall of Fame. And I said, listen, if you come to our podcast, you got to do it with your pants off. Have you ever done a radio show with your pants off? And he said, Clark, in my 25 years of doing radio, I've never done it with my pants off. So, hey,
But he was down?
he was down.
You know, I thought it'd be funny today. I want to bring a dear friend on the show, and his name's Tim Story.
Tim
He's,
Story.
Tim
I know
Story.
Tim Story.
Yeah, he's Oprah's
pastor.
life coach, pastor, motivational speaker, and I just wonder what he would say to the no pants.
Call
thing.
Tim Story. You got Tim Story's number on there?
Yeah.
Call him up right now.
He won't answer. Let's
Call
call
Tim
Tim
Story.
Story. We're calling Tim Story right now.
So listen, guys, we never know what it is we're going to talk about when we come and do the podcast, and we didn't know it was going to be called the Pants Off podcast, and we didn't know we would be sitting here in our boxers doing this podcast. But you know what? I guess the moral of the whole story is I think too often in life, JJ, we overcomplicate things. We think too much. We get caught up in this whole, thinking of what's right, what's wrong, what should I do, what shouldn't I do, and it gets people stuck, man.
Yeah,
You know?
that's why something very lubricating might happen with the pants down.
Here we go. Tim Story. So if you don't know who this guy is, he's a world-renowned pastor. He's got, big Hollywood following, and he does like Oprah's, right?
Oprah's life coach. He's worked with a lot of really, really big
I used to do
celebrities.
ministry with him back in the day before he got to be a big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe it.
We did an event here in Vista, California together.
I believe it.
Yep. So Tim Story is, let me see.
Thank you for calling Story Enterprises. Please leave a message after the tone. Thank you and have a great day.
JJ has turned off the stream.
The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time.
It's too famous
Goodbye.
for us, man. Ouch.
That's it?
Yeah, that was it, man.
Wow. So, hey, Jim, Jeremy, I just got a text message that says Jeremy has turned off the stream. So
Jeremy.
we don't see him, I guess, in the stream. Is that better, Mark? Do you see him now? Okay, Jeremy, what do you want to talk about today? What have you been up to since I've seen you last, man? Other than winning the Pan Ams. You didn't even train for that. You just did it. You were...
No, I mean,
you were training a little bit.
I
but-
wasn't training to go and win the Pan Ams, that's for sure. But you know what? Never going to be 100% ready in life.
Well, you got your knees all jacked up. You got a knee brace on. What happened
Yeah,
in the event? I know you wrestled at like a 240-pound guy.
That was fun. He's been a wrestling coach for 30 years, man. Or 20 years he's been a wrestling coach.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with a wrestler.
He trains UFC fighters. And you know what? I did all right. He didn't humiliate me, embarrass me. He didn't dominate me. The fight's 5 minutes. I lasted 4 minutes and 30 seconds. I didn't let him get 1 point on me. He had no points until the last 30 seconds.
Did you know you had 30 seconds left when you tapped?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, I
Why?
looked
Was
up,
he just smothering you or what?
I could not breathe
Yeah.
at all. And I looked at the clock and, you know, I already did beyond what I thought I would do there. And that was the open weight class division. That was it's called the absolutes, where you go and fight all the other champs from any weight class. You could get a lightweight. It's just luck of the draw, random, you know, you might get a huge dude.
So what were you thinking when you walked out and you're like, okay, you just got this wrestling coach for 20 years. He just started playing jiu-jitsu, but that's beside the point because a wrestler's a wrestler.
Right,
He's on the mat,
right. Mm-hmm.
and he outweighs you by what, 90 pounds?
Yeah, something like that.
What were you thinking?
I was just thinking the same thing that I was thinking for all my fights. Go out there and try not to make mistakes. You know, one fight at a time. You know, I utilized a lot of recovery and, you know, a lot of the life skill stuff that I've been implementing in my life every day to stay in the game. You know, and it was interesting because, you know, years ago when I was competing in jiu-jitsu and I was running and gunning to be number one top ranked in the world at my age and weight, and I would hype myself up a lot, and I would train 2-3 times a day, and you know, I went in there knowing I was going to win and having that mindset and picturing the victory and stuff. And this time I was like, you know what, I'm just going to show up, man, and that's the scary part for me right now, is just going out there not feeling ready. I'm going to take it one fight at a time, and I'm just going to play my game, because it's really me against me in there. It's not me against anybody else.
Well, I guess the question then would be, do you ever feel ready? Does anyone ever feel ready for anything they do in life? If you're someone like you had talked about a few weeks back with this warrior gene, this warrior mentality that is meant to rise above everything else, I don't think that anybody with that DNA in them ever feels like they're at their best, because they always feel like they could be better.
Right.
You know?
Right. And no one's at their best ever. You can always improve. There's always room to improve. There's always more to learn. You know, remain a student. And, you know, you got to remind yourself when you're in there, you know. I mean, the fight is just like a little microcosm of life, right? So, you know, in there, I reminded myself, you know what? This guy's got a job. This guy's got a family. This guy's doesn't have that much time to train. This guy's just fitting it in when he can. This guy's just scared, showing up scared too, you know? And we're all equals in there. You know, don't underestimate anybody. But I just showed up to have fun, and it's just surprised myself little by little. And of course, really good coaches and a lot of support. And it was just fun because I love the sport and I love the art. And to be there after tearing my ACL and not having surgery and, you know, kind of rehabbing myself and going in there anyway.
Well, half the deal is showing up, especially when you don't feel ready. So how, you know, that applies to life, you guys that are watching right now. I think it's really important to understand that we're talking about jiu-jitsu right now, but what we're saying really applies to life as it relates to what it is that you want to do in life and why you don't get in the game, why you don't step on the mat, why you don't get off the sideline, because you're always convincing yourself, I'm not ready. And that I'm not ready mentality is exactly what I talked about when we opened the podcast, of getting stuck in this thought process and never getting out of that and actually applying anything that you've learned in life.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Right. Could have said that in one sentence. I went all on, and I guess I like hearing myself talk. Get over it.
It's great. And I deal with this, you know, I deal with this a lot in life with clients and with people who are reaching out to me for help. You just, you gotta, I forget where I was even going to go with that.
Well, you're talking about taking shots and really taking chances in life, and I think people just get stuck in the fact that they're afraid to take a chance.
And we just excuses, man.
Yeah,
yeah, but maybe them, but not me. Or if I just had this, if I just had that, if this didn't happen, if I felt better, if I didn't have this headache, if, you know what I mean? There's so many little things that come into play.
And sometimes getting beat up is the best thing for you.
Absolutely, man. You learn from that. You sharpen your teeth every time, you know?
Exactly. You know, so you could have saw that guy out there and thought, you know what, I'm not going to, this is not even fair. He outweighs me by 90 pounds. But you jumped out there. You're feeling the results of it, right? You blew your knee out during that match?
Yeah.
What
No,
happened?
it was actually the match before.
Really?
It was actually the match before against the guy that I already fought and beat.
Okay.
And I'm amazed I got away with the 5 fights without injuring my knee, because the ligaments are just super stretched in there, or they're half there, or they might not be there at all. I'm gonna get an MRI tomorrow and I'll know more. But I just landed funny and it, whatever. But thank God I'm at a time in my life. I got good insurance. I probably needed to do this a while ago, and I can just address it.
So let's talk about that. You're at a time in your life. What time is that in Jeremy Jackson's life? You are an amazing, I'll use the word character, because you're almost that. I know you on a very personal level, but a lot of people that don't know you, that might, too often we're judged by what we see, right? They see all this crazy hair, this big beard, guy just like Pants Off podcast. They think you're a nut, but deep down inside, there's a whole lot of substance to who you are as a person. So let's talk about where you're at in life. You've been a superstar. You've done it all. You've been on stages. You've been on shows. You've done everything there is to do in the entertainment industry. Now life has taken a little bit of a different turn for you. Where are you at right now in this stage of your life?
Well, I'm super happy and blessed and grateful. I do multiple therapeutic groups. Every week I lead groups. I
saw that workout the other day on Facebook.
That was fun.
That was fun. It looked fun.
It was fun. Yeah. And bringing the warrior mentality into the fitness. Life is an obstacle course, man. We all have objectives and goals, and we have obstacles. We have things that are in our way, and to recreate that obstacle course of life, to get through something nasty, and to conquer it, to overcome it, or even to have just tried. You learn more about yourself, and you raise your mental toughness, and you raise your emotional endurance and your physical endurance. I have this new mindset of condition the body, sharpen the mind, feed your spirit. If you're doing
Write that down, people.
Condition the body, sharpen the mind, feed the spirit. So obviously spirituality, giving back, mindfulness, love, all that stuff will feed your spirit. Prayer, meditation, sharpen your mind. Taking in new information, taking on new tasks, whether it be a new language or reading a book, or absorbing a new subject, or reaching out to mentors and learning from them, and condition the body, man. That's sport, that's fitness. It's a new activity, whether it's mountain climbing or do a gymnastics class for a month, like just
anything.
Yeah, anything.
That's what I love about my daughter. My daughter,
Tennis.
Every time I see her, she's doing something new, and she's not afraid to go off and try different things in life. But I think, again, people get stuck and they're afraid to be embarrassed, like, oh, I'll look stupid if I do that, or I don't want to walk into a gym, or I don't want to try. Like when I first went to jiu-jitsu, right? I know I'm a pretty capable guy. I'm a good wrestler. I have just
You can do
athleticism.
muscle ups, bro. You can do muscle ups.
I
That's
can.
all you got to tell them.
That's
They'll
it.
be
I
afraid
can do
of you.
muscle ups. But that initial stepping onto the mat, when you got 5-6 guys out there, they're all sweaty and they're in their gis and they've been doing this for a while, and you're faced with that decision of, okay, I'm going to say yes or no to this opportunity right now that lies before me to, one, get my butt handed to me and really realize that I'm not the best at everything that I do. Because when we rise to a level of certain things in our life, like I'm pretty well known in the fitness industry, right? And I've gotten comfortable with that, being in that hierarchy of the fitness world. Yeah. But when you step down from that platform and you walk into an arena that is not familiar to you, you're putting yourself out there. And again, there's an underlying theme, guys, listening, that I want you to understand. We're trying to help you get outside of your own comfort zone right now, because Jeremy and I are both in fitness, and we realize that a lot of people get stuck in their own prison in their mind. And this is something I heard from Tim Story. I never forget it. Years ago, he said, Clark,
shout out to Tim Story.
Tim Story, we are prisoners of our own making. We make a prison in our mind and tell ourselves things like, oh, I have bad genetics, so I can't lose weight, or I tried that diet and I gained 10 pounds back and I feel like crap. Let's talk about that, because both you and I have a large following of people who are interested in what we have to say as it relates to helping them live in a healthier body.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, self-limiting thoughts. I mean, there's two ways. Just keeping it with like the jiu-jitsu tournament or showing up to jiu-jitsu just as a microcosm of life, as an analogy of life. I could show up there and be like, oh my gosh, this dude flew. He's Israeli. He flew from Israel. He's got huge cauliflower ears, and he's got tape on all his fingers and a bunch of patches from sponsors. Like, whoa, this guy is from Brazil. He flew to America to win this thing and take the gold home. Oh no, well, he's got jiu-jitsu in his blood. No way. You know what I mean? I could think that, and I could think, but my knee is all.
So this is one of the guys.
Ginger. Though, I mean, these are guys that I've fought before. This time, no, but turns out this time, there's this one guy. Probably my toughest opponent, strongest opponent. I didn't know anything about him, but the day after the tournament, I see him getting his purple belt. So I've been a blue belt for about a year. He's probably been a blue belt for about 4 years. And, and he posts his picture getting his purple belt, and he has 20 gold medals, 10 silver, 5 bronze. He like posts a picture of him. Like, if I would have known that stuff about that guy, I would have been scared. Crap. I was like, oh no, this guy's like a 10-time champ. Like all these other tournaments, he's a day away from getting. He's so much better than me. You know what I mean? But luckily, I didn't know that stuff. But when you see some of these guys come, tattoos on their head, and
that's huge, man. Judging books by their cover.
Yeah,
right?
Perception can really get in our way how we perceive things. Or I can come there with, look, we're all just doing the best we can. We all just want to show up.
They took their pants off the same way on the podcast,
or they would if we.
And that's the good thing about this podcast is I don't care, dude. You can have all the purple belts and gold medals you want. Take your pants off.
Once you drop trout,
podcast.
It's all a level playing field when you get in here.
You mentioned something earlier about spirituality, and I want to talk about that a little bit with the concept and the idea of this Pants Off podcast. So I posted up on my Facebook page. I send it out to my list, and I don't know if you get as much hate mail as I do from people. I'm a Christian guy. I love God. I am closer to God every single day of my life. So
Ditto.
This guy sends me a message and says, oh, you call yourself a Christian and you took your pants off on this podcast. That pisses me off. I'm just going to keep it real, because is that all this guy has to worry about, is whether or not I took my pants off? Let me follow you around for 15 minutes in one day, and let me point out all of the things you did or thought that would disqualify you from being a, quote unquote Christian. And I said, brother, let me just say this to you. Let he who is out without sin cast the first stone. So think about that. Chew on that for a little bit. So
take the beam out of your eye before you take the speck out of somebody else's.
Oh yeah, something like that.
Yeah, there's another one. This is just a different one, but
right, yeah. But it's really interesting to me how when
don't throw stones at glass house.
We can go on and on with those things. But it's interesting to me how when you start getting more and more recognizable and you're out there in the public eye, and again, you know this better than anyone, being as famous as you were at the height of your career, people just want to put you in a place where they expect you to be perfect all the time, where they expect you to, and listen, there's nobody who's perfect. There's no perfect body. There's no perfect behavior. There's no perfect thought life. There's no perfect anything. So if you're listening, if you're watching, please don't worry about me. I'm good. When I lay my head on my pillow at night, trust me, I'm good with God, man. Me and him are chill. And I say him, that's such a crazy concept if you really get all of that. But anyway, I just needed to get that off my chest. We don't need to talk about it. Yeah, we don't need to talk about it.
All that.
I get that all the time, though, man. And what I'll do is I'll call these people. I'll give them my phone number. I say, call me up. Let's man up and let's talk about this.
Right.
And people don't man up. They're afraid to talk about it because they know they're just trying to like make themselves feel better. Something. I don't know what it is.
Picking on you, pointing a finger at you so they don't look at themselves.
Why do they got to pick on me?
And I struggled with it too. I was like, man, I wonder if Clark's going to be down with this Pantsless podcast thing. I mean, it was a funny concept. It's cool. Everyone has a shtick, but how does this pants off? How does it mean more? And if we're talking about motivating and inspiring people, the topics we're covering, what our mission is, sometimes you got to meet people where they're at. We might have some sex addict that comes across this and like, oh yeah, they got their pants off. And then they hear something that maybe shines a little light in their life, that maybe piques their interest to bettering themselves, bettering their health. And what if we, got people on what they thought was going to be something sexual and softened their heart,
That's
or opened
huge,
their
dude.
minds to health and fitness. And maybe they eaten better, and maybe now they're going to add 10 years to their life because they're not dying of cancer because we were talking about, health and fitness. Or maybe they started working out and changed their lives. Maybe they found a new obsession with fitness. Maybe they ran a marathon instead of scouring the internet for pics, or you know what I mean? Like, who
You know
knows?
what I have to say to that? Bam.
Bam.
Bam, son.
Why not?
That's the truth. And my only reservation about this is I want to be respectful to my wife. That is it. And, we had brought up the point last time when we said, what is the difference between sitting in your boxers or going onto the beach in, board shorts?
Man,
It's
I go to the
same
beach in a
thing.
Speedo, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
Speedo.
go to Europe sometime. It's, sexuality is a really interesting thing. There's such a spectrum of all of that. And I think the same thing goes with spirituality. There's a spectrum. Too often in life, we put them in boxes, man. And that's where I'm at in my spirituality is I'm realizing that God is so much bigger
More.
than
Yeah.
we ever allow God to be by putting God in a box saying, oh, God will get mad if you do the Pants Off podcast. Are you serious right now? Is that how limiting you are in your understanding of the creator of the heavens and earth? You know what I mean? So, man.
Amen to that.
Anyway, but shout out to my wife, Anita. I love her. She is awesome. And, you know that everything I do is meant to, one, entertain, inspire, uplift, and encourage people. And
Break the norm, too.
And break the norm.
We're breaking the norm.
Yeah. Tommy,
Outside the
25
box.
years. Yeah, he never did
And
a
he was
Pants Off
down.
He was down. He's like,
Nice.
as long as I don't need to take my shirt off. I'm like,
Nah,
no, you don't need
man.
to take your shirt off. So,
Yeah, what's the difference between big boxer shorts and, and some regular workout shorts? I mean,
I was watching Dr. Phil this morning, and he had Demi Lovato on, and she was talking about her
Pants
recovery.
on or off?
She had her pants
okay.
on. She was fully
That's
clothed.
Too bad. That's too bad.
But he was talking about her recovery, and a lot of people don't know, Demi Lovato, superstar, singer, actor. She was on, Barney and the Mickey Mouse Club and all that sort of stuff. And she struggled with addiction. I want to talk about that because here is the reason I want to talk about addiction and my thought for you. Speaking of spirituality and purpose in life and all of that, when I sit back and I think of Jeremy Jackson, what I see in my mind and what I see happening in your life is one day you having your own facility, a beautiful facility, a big house somewhere, and it's got a gym in it, and it's got a pool in it, it's got a dance studio in it. It's just got all of these things that are unique to you in your desire to help people overcome addiction. You know what I mean? I really believe that is in the path for your life, and I want to talk about that. Is that something that you would want to happen?
Yeah, of course, man. I've spent a lot of years research and development, pain and success and ups and downs and a lot of money. I've followed some pretty influential and intelligent people around and adapted and adopted their modalities and mentalities and diets and fitness and all that stuff, and to put together a cocktail of what I believe works and interrupts negative patterns in people's lives would be amazing. Like you said, pools, like, ionic sea salt mineral pool, stuff like that. Ginger detox, mineral hot tub, pyro clay,
You got it all figured out.
Yeah,
You've thought about
Jurassic mud hot tub. Yeah, we'll do that.
Hey, have you done the
infrared saunas?
Have you
yeah.
done the tank? The
float tank?
The float tank?
Not yet, no.
Oh, dude. I had the most amazing experience in a float tank. Let me tell you about it. So a buddy of mine owns a place here in San Marcos. So I went in there, and I'm a constantly moving kind of guy. So it's hard to lay down in complete silence, or with a little bit of music playing, in the complete sensories deprived. I mean, all of your
deprivation, yeah.
you're in there. So I did it a few times, and I struggled to get through it, but I finally settled into it. And here's what happened: I saw my dead dad. I had an experience. I walked out of that room. I won't get into everything that happened, but I was there. We were next to the water together because when he died, I sat with him, and my dad was completely atheist, agnostic, all combined together. The guy just seemed to hate God, and he made fun of me when I became a Christian, but that's beside the point. When he was dying, he said, "Son, do you hear the music?" And I said, "No, sir, I don't hear the music." He said, "Come closer to the water." And those are two signs, right, of like coming to the end. And the Bible talks about music, it talks about water, and there's something there. But anyway, so I go into this meditation thing, and I come out, I see my dad in that place next to the river. And we had this thing, and I came out, and my buddy that runs the place, we looked at each other, and it was the most amazing experience ever because he knew something deep happened in that place. Whoa. And I couldn't even put it to words. He just came over and he hugged me, and he had a business meeting going on at the time, and he just kind of shushed the lady, came over, and he put his arms around me and hugged me. And I cried for, no lie, at least 5 minutes.
Wow. And
it was such a relief. And I'm saying all of that to say, I'm a kind of guy that's constantly go, 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 go. And I know I'm not the only one in the world that has that mentality. Listen, people, we got to slow down sometimes, man. You got to slow down. And if you have to go in a sensory deprivation tank to do it, do it. You know what I mean? And that's why all of what you're talking about that you want to do is so valuable to people. So I know you do some meditations with your guys and, talk about some things that people can do right now today. Right now, that maybe they're full of anxiety,
Yep.
Maybe they're full of stress. We know everyone is full of stress.
Yep.
Regardless of how it manifests in somebody's life, they have it.
Right.
So what are some things that people can do right now that will help them with those things?
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot. That's the good news, is there's a lot. I feel like in life we have endless problems. There's no shortage of stress, drama, trauma, pain, fear, financials. There's no shortage, infinite possibilities when it comes to fear, pain. But really there's only a handful of solutions. A lot of problems, handful of solutions. And it's either going to be tapping into yourself deeper or practices of self-forgetting. I think that's what it really boils down to. It's really like being alone with you, with spirit, with
That's a
God,
hard place
with
to be
energy.
sometimes.
Yeah. So tapping deeper in. So you're either plugging in or unplugging, I feel like, you know, and that's the way to get in the moment. So the Breathworks meditation, you can look it up online.
Breathing is so important. I do a lot of, and I'll let you get back to that. So I do a lot of fitness events, and the first thing I have people do is take 5 deep breaths.
Nice.
If everyone took 5 deep breaths right now, it would change the way they feel. Instantly.
Let's do it. You want to do it?
Yeah, let's
with
do
our
it.
watchers right now. We're going to take 5 deep breaths.
So everyone watching, okay, we're going to give them a little second to settle in here.
Because we're going to this is going to create unity, synchronicity.
Yeah.
We're going to join together in this moment with these breaths.
Okay, so you lead us through 5 deep breaths right here.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to do a weird way, okay?
Okay.
It's going to be a 2-part inhale and a 1-part exhale. We're doing it through the mouth, in through the mouth and out through the mouth. The first inhale is going to fill your diaphragm, blow your lower belly up like a balloon. The second part of the inhale is going to expand your upper chest and rib cage, and then it's going to be an exhale. So we're going to do 5 of those, and I'll show you. It's 1. See how the belly comes up, and then. So we'll do that together. 5, 4, 3, 2. Feel that?
100%.
Feel that.
So that is how.
That's Tim Story calling back, I think.
Answer him.
I think so. Hello?
Jeremy, Tim Story.
Oh my gosh. What a pleasure, brother.
Man, I just got off an airplane. Sorry about that.
No problem, man. Hey, I'm on my podcast here live with my buddy Clark Bartram, who you probably know from prison ministry back in the day.
James DeMello.
With James DeMello, he toured with you.
I remember him well, and I love you, Clark.
What's up, Tim Story? Man, this is okay, guys. So you got to understand who this man is on the phone right now. He's had such an impact on my life and so many men's life throughout the years. And Tim, do you remember that day we were in Vista, California on that field, me, you, and James DeMello, and we did that event. We were blowing up the hot water bottles, me and James, and breaking the base. What, that was 1994 or something, man.
That was back in the day. And one thing I loved about Clark, you guys, is that you were willing to do anything to get people's attention, to tell them a message about their lives could change.
That's what we're doing right this moment. This is pretty amazing, man.
Guys, you don't understand what's going on right now. Keep going, Jeremy.
No, it's incredible, man. So we got this podcast, right? And we're calling it the Pants Off Podcast. And it's kind of crazy. Some people are judging us, think we're doing something wrong. And we're just trying to break the norm, man. If it takes us sitting in our boxer shorts, we got the camera's neck up. You know what I mean? But we want to break the norm, and we want to speak into people's lives, even if it takes doing something radically different to get them. And I was like, man, I want to see if Tim Story would ever come on our Pants Off Podcast, man. We're speaking into people's lives.
Come on the Pants Off Podcast.
Woo!
Because we're on it right now.
That's right. That's right. We're talking about our celebrity friends. You know, I saw David Hasselhoff the other day, and I said, man, call me. He said, email me. He didn't get back to me. I said, you know who's going to get back to me? Tim Story. And he did.
Oh, yeah. I'll get back to you. And then the other thing that I'm on the phone the first time, because I need 2 weeks to get ready to take my pants off before I go on the podcast.
We got the program for you, Tim. We can help you get there. But listen, brother, say something inspirational to the people out there, man. You're out there constantly speaking into people's lives. Last time I saw you, brother, was on Dog the Bounty Hunter when you were speaking to Dog and, you know, helping him through a hard time in his life. What would you say to people out there that might be struggling right now?
To speak on just briefly is that, as you guys know, there are different areas of life and things that we go through. And one thing is the madness. We've all been through the madness. And then the second is the mundane. The third is the messy. The fourth is the magical. Now, the magical is what I'm beginning to see in Jeremy's life, because Jeremy and I have been talking, and Jeremy, I'm seeing the magical come back to you. The word magical means supernatural, extraordinary. Okay? Many times people get afraid of the word magical because they think it's all in the negative supernatural, but that's only 10% of magic. When God talks about magic, he's about something supernatural, extraordinary. But before you get to the magical, guys, as we all know, sometimes you got to get through the mundane, which is just that tough stuff every day, one day at a time, the messy, the crap that just comes in life, okay? And then also the madness. And the more magical you become, the more madness tries to chase you down.
Isn't that the truth?
It'll try to chase you down, man. But what happens is you become so magical, and you learn how to deal with the madness, that you maintain your magic. And that's what you guys are doing as veterans. You guys are young veterans. Even though you guys are young, you've been through so much crap.
I'm old,
now
Tim.
You know how to deal with the mundane, the messy, and the madness, and stay magical.
Tim, I'm 54 now, brother. I'm old.
Yeah, that's young.
That's young.
There's a lot older than you.
I know, but I feel like I'm 24, brother. I feel like I'm 24.
We got to get on your facial regime, man. What products are you using? That's what I want to know. You got that baby face.
He's black,
So
man.
it is a new day, and it's good to be on with you guys. And I will come out to wherever you are, coming up real soon, and let's do all this together.
Thanks for blessing us, bro. So it starts with the madness, to the messy, to the mundane, to the magical, and then maintain. Is that right? Did I get that right?
You got to maintain it. You got to maintain your magic, and the way you do that is that you got to stay close to the magic. That's why it's good we all have each other.
Exactly.
Stay close to the magic.
Beautiful.
Thanks for calling back, brother. We appreciate it, man. I'm going to tell
All right,
James.
God bless you. We'll talk to you guys soon.
We love
right.
you, man.
Love you too.
Bye-bye.
Peace out. That was legit right there, ladies and gentlemen.
That was legit.
That was legit. Tim Story, look him up. That guy has had such an impact on so many people's lives. He's got a big ministry in Hollywood to all of the celebrities. And, you know, I think he even did the prayer at one of the president's inaugurations. Wasn't he with Obama when Obama? Yeah, he did the.
Pretty darn sure, man.
Yeah.
Yep. He has the Hollywood Nights, big celebrity kind of gathering. A lot of recognizable names and faces, world movers and earth shakers in Hollywood.
And Tim Story, a pastor, a really spiritual guy, is going to come and do the Pants Off podcast. Now what? I think I lost my mic.
Yeah, that clap set it off.
Yeah. Check. Can you guys hear me out there? I can't hear myself anymore.
Well, that was awesome.
That was super awesome. I am like fired up by that.
We got graced right there.
I brought you a banana.
You did?
Yeah.
That's cool. I already have one in my pants though.
Check. Let me see some people's. Yes. Did I lose my mic?
Pants Off podcast. We got a little bit of technical difficulties right now. See, this is the madness right there. See, we're starting to speak some life into people.
Oh, yeah.
We're starting to, raise awareness. We're starting to have some, big timers call us and join us in our mission. And
Mike's shutting down.
there you go. Technical difficulties. All of a sudden.
Yeah, just out of nowhere.
You can expect that. You can expect that with your victories will come some pushback, man. Not everybody's ready to champion.
I need some. There we go. I hear it now.
We're back.
Okay, I'm back,
We're
ladies
back.
and gentlemen.
And
I'm
you
back.
got angels in your life like Jim. You just fix it.
So let's give it up for Providence Video Productions. My man
Yeah.
Jim Brook right here on the ones and twos doing it up for us. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cameras. We got 3 microphones. We got live switching. We got lights. We got a studio. And we have a master technician on the boards keeping us live here. And listen, man, this podcast, he's waving right there. That was his hand. This podcast is going to do nothing but get better and better and better. We will have some big name people on here. Now, I know you have, if the Hoff decides to ever email you back, we'll get him.
We'll get the Hoff. We got some Baywatch babes definitely down to come on. I got a list of some people.
I'm going to get some fitness celebrities here to come on. Let me call one right now. Let me see if I can, let me.
You know who we need to reach out to?
Who?
Remember Brooke Ince.
Who?
Brooke Ince. She was at the FMI, man. Now she's the big world's fittest athlete CrossFit chick.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, see, we've launched so many careers through FMI.
Launched a lot of careers.
Yeah. So let me call my buddy Mike O'Hearn.
Mike
One
O'Hearn,
of the
that would be
strongest
great.
people I know. Let's see if he'll answer for me. He's probably sleeping right now because that guy wakes up at 3.
3 in the morning, yeah, to do his 4 a.m. Superman workouts, man.
Hello.
Exactly. Superman workout.
Yeah.
Oh, he answered. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I got Mike O'Hearn on the Pants Off podcast. Mike, you're live on my podcast with Jeremy Jackson, and we're calling our celebrity friends right now. And he said, "Who's the biggest celebrity you know?" I'm like, "I have the biggest, the strongest, the best looking, the coolest."
And a guy who has no problem taking.
So you got me.
Yes, he wasn't available, so I called Mike O'Hearn. But anyway, hey, are you going to be available to come on our podcast now? Before you say yes, you need to understand the.
Oh, I wasn't gonna say yes.
Oh, okay. It's called the Pants Off podcast, so you have to come in and take your pants off and be on the
I
podcast.
go Commander, so how's that gonna work?
Uh-oh.
Hey, if you want to, dangle, we'll just put some towels down on the seats because it's leather.
There we go.
All right.
Good with that.
All right. So when can we make that happen, brother? When are you in town? See?
I got to check with the boss. Let me check with Mo, see when we can do this.
Okay.
It's
all
a
right.
dog. It is a dog-friendly environment, so
Yes.
don't worry about that.
Yes, bring Stryker with you. But anyway, Mike, I know you're probably sleeping. Say something encouraging to all the people watching right now. We're live on Facebook. We're going to put this out on YouTube. What would you say?
I would say there's no trick. There's no trick to health and fitness or life. It's a day-to-day thing. Do your very best, man. It's what it comes down to.
Don't think that there's a trick. Don't search for the trick. Just fight every day for passion and love, man.
There you go.
There you go. Well, I love you, brother. I miss you. Thanks for picking up the phone and not making me look stupid. And
I miss you guys.
yeah,
We miss you, brother.
Knucklehead.
So we do it every Thursday, just so when you ask Mo, it's Thursday at 11 a.m., either 10 or 11. And if you just get done training at 4 a.m., you can head down here. We'll take you to breakfast, and you will hang out, and we'll come and do the Pants Off podcast.
I love it. I love it.
All right.
Good to me, man.
All
I'll
right.
touch base with her. You guys have a great day. Hey, one more thing, really important.
He's going to hang up. I know that guy. That's our thing. We hang up on each other like that. So if you don't know who Mike O'Hearn is, look him up. He is
Come on, everybody.
legitimately the strongest guy I know. And, everyone's always, he's on drugs,
American
he's on steroids,
Gladiator.
he's on this. And you know what? I know that guy so well. And I've had very deep conversations with him at some dark those messy places that Tim talked about. And I believe this guy is just one of those phenoms.
Yeah.
He's just one of those phenoms. If you look at a picture of him when he was 14 years old,
You can see it.
he's huge.
Wow.
He was 270 pounds in high school.
Come on.
Benching over 500 pounds.
Yep.
So you can't, but anyway, that's another thing. People love to automatically assume things about other people that they don't know.
Yeah. It makes it easy.
Well, it makes it a lot easier, and it's unfortunate that the day and age that we live in right now, we are convicted first until proven innocent.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
It's not the way it should be. We're innocent until proven guilty, so.
Hey, your mind is like a parachute. It works best when it's open.
Oh,
Hey.
he Googled some motivational sayings this
I got
morning.
my Google machine up here.
His Google machine.
So I met
up here.
Hoist Gracie.
I saw that picture, dude.
And
Choked you out.
might be able to bring him on the show.
That'd be sick.
Got a couple black belts signed from him.
Oh, shut up.
And he dropped a couple cool knowledge bombs on us. And he gave a couple quotes, man. And he said, "Show me something impossible, and I'll prove you wrong."
Ooh. Wow.
He was asked, "Hey, what's some words of wisdom that you could give?" He simply said, "Show me something impossible, and I'll prove you wrong."
I'd love to have him come here to explain that a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Because I don't even want to try.
Then they said, "Who was your toughest opponent? Who was the scariest guy to face?" He 300-pound guys in the UFC, and he beat them. He back in the UFC back then, he was 5 fights a night.
Yeah.
And
there was no weight classes.
no weight classes. 5. You win one, you go on to the next one. You go on to the next one. And he said the toughest opponent I ever faced is right here. He said up here he's got 4 arms, six legs, 2 heads. He's a scary beast up there. Everything else is easy once you can face this opponent. Pretty cool.
So Tom Challen, my buddy, just said, tell Jeremy to put his phone up and shown on Instagram at sideways. Yeah, we had already discussed that, but he wanted to get this in the shot.
I
He
know.
didn't want
I got to turn it around.
People should turn their head sideways just to view that.
I'm sorry, guys.
But anyway, at least we know we have one person watching us right now.
Yeah, we got 6. 6. Oh, 3. Okay, well, 1. We'll just stick with the 1.
But yeah, Hoist Gracie would be awesome to have on here. And we promise you guys that we're going to continue to bring you really good information. And it will always be uplifting, encouraging, like that person said at the beginning when you asked, what should we talk about? Someone said, hey, make sure it's inspirational.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way around that with us because it's in both of our DNA to just let that stuff come out. I don't try to do what I do. If I don't do what I do, I would absolutely explode.
Yeah.
It would be spontaneous human
wither
combustion.
away and
It would be horrible. But sometimes it's hard to have all of that in you, man, because when you're faced with yourself, like Hoist Gracie was talking about, you tend to question whether or not you measure up to all of what it is you're telling the rest of the world to do. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to be honest with people right now. I struggle with that.
What, like talking about it and not feeling like you be about it 100%?
100%, man.
Well, you got to. That's why you speak it into existence.
You know
what I mean?
and you feel hypocritical sometimes, and that's why I just try and be honest with people. I like, listen, man, I don't have it all together at all, but this is just part of who I am, and it's what I am. I don't claim to always have it together. So I had that Monday morning mindset
Right.
videos that I do all the time. You notice I haven't done them in a while.
Check
because
out
I just
Clark
feel,
Bartram's Facebook for the live feed on this, by the way, and his Monday morning motivation.
Well, I haven't done those in a while because I feel like inadequate sometimes, man. Like I'm not good enough.
Self-doubt.
That's a struggle.
A
Yeah,
little self-doubt coming in there.
absolutely.
Well, you know what I think it is, you know, we say it a lot, we live it, we think it, we preach it, and, you know, as extremists or, you know, the experts or perfectionists, you know, we feel like everyone's already heard it.
Yeah.
Or we're saying the same stuff, or it's getting, hey, that's the mundane. Bring it back to Tim's story. So it's getting mundane, like maybe you don't have anything to offer, but you could say the same thing every day and still be finding somebody else that really, really needed to hear it. Because we do what we do for just that one person, right? Just for the maybe of that one person that picked themselves up by the bootstraps for one more day, you know. Suicide rate out there is through the roof.
It's insane.
I
saw you mention something about heroin the other day.
Yeah,
I was just in Canton, Ohio, where I grew up in Ohio.
out of
In
control.
Canton specifically has, my brother is a fireman. He said, Clark, I roll up on more heroin overdoses than I could even begin to tell you.
Yeah. And I think it starts a lot with the prescription industry.
Oh.
You know, I'm sure any doctor would want to put me on some Norcos or something for this knee. And then you get on the Norcos, and when you try to stop, all of a sudden the pain, it's like self-actualized pain. It's not really your knee hurting. It's your withdrawal that's making everything hurt, and then you get more injuries. I mean, I've worked with guys that I tried to help who would literally at least once a year get in a horrible accident. I'm talking about falling down a flight of stairs, working all day in the sun and blistering the top of their shape. Like they don't even realize it, but their inside addicted self is causing these horrible things, literally slamming their hands in cars so they could go get pills, and they don't even know it. They think,
don't
no,
know.
dude,
It's
I'm
just-
really injured. It's like,
Wow.
no, you're so sucked into this addiction, you have no idea, you know.
Hey, how's our buddy Austin
And
doing?
then it's expensive, so heroin's so much cheaper. So then you just do
Yeah,
the
that's
heroin,
true.
and then now the heroin is cut with fentanyl. Fentanyl
Oh.
from China,
Bam.
so they're mixing. That's way 100 times more powerful. It's cheaper. They're getting it on the dark web, and it's killing people.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just such a tangled web, man. People have no idea what they're getting themselves into with that.
How's Austin doing?
Austin doing's fantastic. Him and I went to my sister's birthday party last night. Happy birthday, Tay Tay.
Tay.
Little sister Taylor,
What is she, like 31?
32, I think.
How'd I even?
Yeah, you're good
Must
because
have
you pay
worked.
attention.
Yeah, pay attention.
You're probably closer than me. Yeah. But we had a really nice dinner with the family. Aunt and uncle came out, and Austin was there. We had a great time.
It was good to meet him and get to know him and all of that. So let's leave people with that. Let's
Okay.
leave people with the fact that there is stuff out there in the world that is trying to get your attention, and it's trying to get your attention for all the wrong reasons, whether it's heroin or you talked earlier about, sex addicts and all of these things. And Tim talked about messiness, and messiness can be whatever it is. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, no sin has seized you but what is common to you. So think about that for a second. Sin is sin, but if it's common to you, it's going to be more appealing and more attractive to you.
Yeah.
So whatever it is that you're struggling with in your life, think about that and be aware of that, because no sin has seized you but what is common to you. But then it also goes on to say, but God is faithful. He won't let you be tempted beyond what you could handle. And then it says, but when you are tempted, he'll provide a way out. So guys, there's a way out of everything that we're facing in life. And if you're facing yourself, you just got to face yourself and deal with those struggles and deal with those hard things, because that is the biggest jiu-jitsu match that you'll ever have in your life. And that is the scariest opponent you will ever have. Jeremy Jackson, I love you. You're amazing.
I love
Jim
you
Brook,
too.
thank you so much
Thanks,
for what
Jim.
you do.
Everybody bombard Clark. We want to get those Monday morning motivations back up and running, because somebody out there needs it. I know I do, and I know Clark does.
That's it. That's it, guys. Make it a great day. Bam.
Shout out to Tim Story.
Tim's story.
That was dope.
That was sick.
Deal of the week at clarkscheese.com. The podcast with Clark Bartram and Jeremy Jackson, sponsored by CBTs.